Hey, welcome back to Oddie's Airsoft. Now, if you're a regular peruser of this channel, you'll have noticed that of late the channel has pretty much dried up with videos. Not to a point where the channel's finished, but certainly it's gone a bit quiet. And the reason for this is we are, I think, nearly 300 videos in on the channel. And 70% to 80% of the videos we make are review videos. There's only a finite amount of guns out there that we can physically get our hands on. There's an awful lot out there that I'd love to look at and love to review, but we just physically can't get hold of them because they're too high end, or the companies that have them aren't exactly sending us out loads of things to look at. So we have had a little bit of drying up of the guns that are out there to look at, the pistols, etc. And but luckily for us, we do have some bits coming down the line this year that we will manage to get our hands on. So as I said, there has been a slight drying up from the actual items to review. And the second thing is, airsoft is not my only hobby. For a long time I was doing some real steel shooting, and also I have been a long time angler. So I've actually been off back fishing for a while, and fishing, being a little bit like airsoft, is a time intensive sport, and therefore something's got to give. You're a family man. Family come first. After that, it's whatever time I can allocate to whichever sport I want to be involved in at that particular moment, and at the moment it's been mainly fishing. So that's a little bit of intro for this particular video. And what are we going to look at? Well, we've got a number of things that I'm going to run through. That I was down in MainIrishAirsoft, my local store where I get all my guns for review, and I decided I'd do something a little bit off tact, a little bit, you know, left of field, and that was to look at some accessories that they brought in. Now, I'm going to start off with the most basic things first, and that's kind of protection, and it's in the form of a couple of things. First and foremost is they've brought in this new mask. If you are a paintballer, you'll know exactly what this is. A lot of young guys starting off, you should be wearing full face protection, and you must have your eyes covered, number one. This is a polycarbonate lens, and it's made in a certain way that's got great ventilation, unlike a lot of the paintball masks. This one actually has a huge amount of ventilation, and they've kind of used a bit like a double glazing effort on the actual lens so that it will reduce fogging. Now, fogging happens no matter what liquid you use on them to stop it, anti-fog. Fogging does happen on polycarbonate lenses, and to be honest with you, the only polycarbonate lens to date that I've used that I've had really little to no fogging on has been the Bullet Ants by Revision goggles, but you know, you'd have to go to Revision for them, and they are silly money. But they are very, very good. So if you're in the market for starting off your airsoft and you want something just to wear on your quick skirmish out, check out these. They're not exactly expensive. Now, moving away from polycarbonate lenses, the next two things are the mesh goggles. Now, mesh themselves, there's two different camps. One, they don't fog up, so they make for much safer playing of airsoft. Because they're not fogging up, means that you get a much better vision. And also the fact that you're not then having to try and get in and wipe lenses whilst you're in game. Up to this stage, I used mesh goggles, which had a much larger hole in the actual metal mesh. These are very, very tiny holes, which means that you should have zero penetration of fragments. But I will say this, that doesn't mean you won't get any penetration of fragments, because when a BB hits, it's made of plastic, it can shatter and it can go through. Now, I actually, on my old ones, which were homemade, as I said, the grid was much larger, and I did have, you know, bits coming through. And that was, you know, my concern at the time, and I moved back to polycarbonate. Now I'd actually have no problem using goggles like this, because, as I said, the mesh is so fine. I just don't see how anything can penetrate through. The other thing about wearing mesh is if you're in dark forests, the mesh themselves actually can darken your vision right down, whereas a polycarbonate won't. And that's something to be aware of. So let's get rid of them off the table. So that's a little bit about eye protection and face protection. If you are using just goggles, make sure you wear a lower face mask as well, because let's face it, you've got to look after your teeth. Now, other styles of protection. Gloves. They've brought in these Miltech spec gloves, and they come in a different, sort of different price points, and they are slightly different in configuration as well. They are nice and snug, and that's something that you've got to make sure that when you're buying a glove, it's got to fit real tight, and it has that sort of leatherette, suede kind of material, which will actually, as your hand sweats, it'll actually make your hand grip the gun better. There is no external protection, so if you do get a BB hit, it's still going to hurt you. I actually tend to rock out with gloves that have the actual carbon fibre over the knuckles. I just think it's safer again. But these, compared to the other type that I'm using Oakley pilot gloves, they are retailing, I think, you're nearly up to the €40 mark, whereas these are a quarter of that price. They come in different colours. They've got them in tan, they've got them in green, they come in different sizes, and they also then have a slightly padded version, which is the type that I would recommend. And these are the fingerless jobs, and these have that actual sort of knuckle piece here, so that when you wear it, your knuckles, if you are going to take an impact, because let's face it, it's your knuckle that's going to be, out in front of around gripping a gun, or it's on the pistol grip. It tends to, if you're going to get hit in the hand, it usually is around the knuckles. And I actually have had a friend who did some serious damage to his knuckle. He actually chipped a bone in his knuckle and was, very sore for a very, very long time. I'm talking about 9 to 10 months. He was still suffering with the same issue while it healed. It's a game we play. It's a sport, we enjoy it, it's recreation, it's not life and death, we're not real Marines, so therefore we need to look after ourselves, because we actually have to go back to our day jobs, or for the younger audience, back to school or college. Another thing that is really worth a look and worth getting hold of, these are 9mm tactical X-Tac pads. They've got elbows and knee pads. Now, I always had a bit of an issue with knee pads. I actually prefer the type that actually goes into your trousers, where, if you've got military style trousers on, they actually have like a holding section for a pad to be inserted. I prefer that type myself, because I always found whenever I was moving around, these would tend to slip down and they'd end up around your ankles. Elbows, it doesn't happen as much. They don't move around as much, but certainly the knee pads did. But that said, these are better than nothing, and these are so inexpensive. I think these are retailing around the €20 mark, which is absolutely nothing. They're worth having, because they're a saviour for your legs and your knees, and also for your elbows. Again, from getting shot at, but more importantly for taking impact if you are going prone or hitting the deck or whatever. It's worth having something like that to look after yourself. A lot of guys are using helmets these days, and this is a Mitch or a Mike 2 helmet. It's railed, and this is in black. They also have it in green and tan. And again, a lot of guys saying, well, do I really need a helmet? Well, no, you don't, but having used them in field, there have been times when I've been running full belt through undergrowth and taking a whack in the head from a branch. And having a helmet like this has helped me. Also, there's been a massive increase with guys filming themselves and using GoPros and different Tachyons and all the different style cameras. And having the rails on these allow you to actually put on a helmet cam, and you can then record your adventure out there and put it up and be your own scouter doggy. So again, you're looking at, I'm going to give you a price point on this because, it's €54. It's exceptionally well made, brilliantly padded, and I own a couple of helmets, and that's up there with some of the best I've seen. So it's well worth a look. Now, got rid of that. Next on the scopes. Now scopes, let's face it, you know, they're more designed to look good on your AEG. Unless you're into real sniping and you actually have a designated sniper, scopes tend to be there for more looks or checking out your quarry rather than actually using it to acquire your target and hit it, because we have to put on an arc on our BBs. In other words, if we've got somebody at 20 meters or 30 meters, we're actually having to bring up the AEG up to an elevation so that we can drop the BB in. These are line of sights, and therefore, unless you're at really, really short range, they're pretty ineffective. But if you're a sniper, where you're going to be getting up close and personal anyway, and I actually have used these on an AEG and taken headshots because of these and got the opponent. Yeah, I get them, and in certain circumstances they are really, really good. So here's this one is a really nice job. This is a 4x32 illuminated mil dot. Now it also has on the side a laser. Now you're probably not going to pick that up, but the laser, as I said, is a really nice little feature. Again, you know, most laser stuff you'll be using much more, you know, sort of close quarters in my mind. But look, it's a nice little feature, and it has a little cantilever sort of thing, so it will actually fit the rail very snugly. Has all the usual left and right elevations, and you can change everything up very, very quickly. There's no needing a screwdriver and taking off caps and tightening things. It's just a quick up and down with a very easy to hit knob. And also then you have the illumination dial here. 4x32 means you're going to zoom in quite well. You know, you're going to have a fairly good range on it. And it's a very, very nicely made piece. Moving on, just to give you an example, that's €70 give or take. Now, this piece is a GP 30mm red dot sight. Now, basically it has the front cover and the back cover here, which is always worth having because I've had direct hits on my optics, and it doesn't do them any favors. And this is more of just like a, you know, a red dot, so that you can acquire the target. There's not going to be much magnification in that piece, and that's retailing around the €40 mark. Now this is an out and out sniper. This is a 3-9x40 illuminated sniper scope, really, really well made, and it comes with all the bells and whistles, the mounts and everything that go on, and this is retailing around the 54 mark. So again, if you're looking to trick out your AEG, you know, obviously if it's an AEG and not a sniper, you'd be going for one of these two. My preference would be this one. I think it looks a little bit better, a little bit more hardcore. If you're going for a sniper, then it's going to be this jobby here. I've used these loads of times, and they do make a big difference if you are trying to snipe. So again, something nice to trick out your AEG, because as I said, optics don't really make that much difference from a gameplay point of view, but that said, when they're on the AEG, it's all about how it looks. Let's face it, you know, 90% of airsoft is not how we play, but it's how good we look when we rock out. Paracord. I'm wearing this paracord here. This is by Webtex, and it is a 230mm camo wristband. Again, I see a lot of guys wearing these. I don't know why you'd want one personally, but I see everyone wearing them. And what they are is they're retailing around the €9 mark. And what they are, they're a little bracelet that you wear, but they're made of paracord, and you can actually unravel them to give yourself a rope that would be utilised in many different ways. They're a real survivalist item, not so much an airsoft necessity, but again, as I said, I see a lot of guys wearing them. They're very military based, and people looking to get, you know, certain looks on their rigs, they're all rocking out with them, so I thought I'd show it anyway. This I really like. Now, this is a double gun rod bag, and it's in multicam. Now, I'm going to give you the price on this because I think this is superb value for money. This is a double M4 case in multicam, and it's retailing at $32.99. Now what you have is you have your big pouches on the side that will allow you put all your accessories, your optics, your mags, whatever. But the great thing about this is actually lined to take 2 different guns, so you can fit one on this side and one on the other. If you're an airsofter like myself, you'll rack with 2 guns minimum going in the car, because let's face it, airsoft guns are so temperamental that even the best of them, the ones that cost silly money, I have one of them that costs silly money, they have a habit of shitting gears or failing or something going wrong with them. There's also the occasion where something internally may wear, and all of a sudden your gun will run hot, and when it's chronoed in at the site, it's not safe to play. It's taken away for the day until you go home, and therefore you're left with your backup AEG. I always take 2 guns with me whenever I go airsofting, as do most of my mates, and having a single case that will take 2 M4 size AEGs is absolutely perfect. Really, really well made. It's even got the sort of little bit sort of hard plastic here at the bottom to keep it safe if you let it stand up. Comes with a number of straps that you can just hump over your back, or alternatively you've got a nice carry handle. It's a real dinky little item for next to nothing in price wise. I think it's really exceptional value for money. It's going to protect your guns, and as I said, it gives you the ability to use 2 guns or bring 2 guns at the same time. So this has been Oddie's Airsoft for the very first airsoft video of the year. I know it's not guns, but they are coming, so you'll have to bear with me. As I said at the beginning of the video, the channel has slowed down a little bit, and that's been mainly because life is happening around me, and I will still be making the videos. I still will be playing airsoft, and but I'm just not going to be reviewing any old dross. I'm going to sort of cherry pick what I really want to be reviewing. So as I said, today was just a little bit of a catch up with you guys, and to tell you where we're at, and also to mention a couple of bits and pieces that I happen to see down in MainIrishAirsoft, and just to give you a quick look at them. If you want any of these items, you can check out their website, or if you are a resident of Ireland, you can check out not only their website but also ring them up at their contact point. So this has been Oddie's Airsoft for this particular video, and we'll see you in the next one.